Hello, hobby friends. My name is Ren. Welcome to my hobby room, or in this case, my office, where we are going to be doing the pre battle step for our Flight of the Lightning Bug, which is our campaign for 5 parsecs from home. And this is going to be the setup for turn 1. The campaign turn, let's start right there. We'll do fleet invasion. We won't have to flee invasion. We won't have to travel. So we don't have to do starship travel. We don't have to do new world arrival because we're on our starting world. So we go to the step 2 world. Okay. Upkeep and ship repairs, assign and resolve crew tasks, determine job offers, assign equipment, resolve any rumors, choose my battle. Upkeep and ship repairs. Your campaign must pay upkeep for your crew, representing paychecks, booze, food, anything, cost of living, basically. Upkeep costs 1 credit if you have 4 to 6 crew, which I do. 1 additional credit per crew member past 6. Okay, so we're going to have to pay 1 upkeep, our crew upkeep. And then ship debt, this is the fun part. This is where it's like too realistic. You have to pay interest on your spaceship. Okay, if you still owe money after you make your payment, the amount is now increased by 1 credit. 2 credits if you owe 31 credits or more. I don't. I owe like 22 credits, something like that. We have 12 credits. So we're going to pay 1 for our crew upkeep. That'll put us to 11. So I am going to pay 3. And that's going to drop us down to 8 credits. And then that would drop us to 19, but then we're going to get dinged once with interest. So we're going to go down to 20 debt. Nobody's going to need to find a patron this first turn because we've already got 2. And if we found another one, we just have to miss one of our jobs. So we're going to do, our other choices are we can do training, we can trade, we can try and recruit a new crew member. I'm not going to do that yet. We could explore. We could track. We don't have any rivals, so we don't need to track our rivals. And we don't need to decoy our rivals because we don't have any yet. Don't need to do repair because we don't have any broken equipment. We have 6 crew members. You can only do a specific task twice per turn. So you can't have all 6 of your crew members explore or train. So I'm going to do training on a couple. Captain Lamb is going to train on his first turn. So he's going to get 1 XP. Okay, and Cracks, the Feral, already has 2 because of his backgrounds. I'm going to edit that. He's also going to train, and he's going to get 1 more XP. Let's see how trading works exactly. Trade. For each crew member trading, roll once on the trade table, see page 79 to see what presents itself. You can get additional rolls by spending 3 credits. Alright, I'm not going to spend any extra credits, but I'm going to send Miley trading. You know what? I want to assign all of them first. I don't know, it's not clear whether you can resolve them one at a time. The ones for doing the training, there was no roll involved. But I think I'm going to pick the other 4 actions first before I resolve any of them. So we're not, especially like finding a patron or whatever. Okay, so basically 2 are going to trade and 2 are going to explore. So I will send Miley and iPal to go trading, and I will send Hammer and DD209 exploring. Okay, so for each crew member trading, roll once on the trade table. Trade table. We need to roll a D100, a percentile dice. Alright, let's roll D100. And we got a... Oh, it won't stop. We got a 12. Which is instruction book. A crew member of your choice can read it and earn 1 XP. Single use. Okay, so we got an instruction book. And then that was for Miley. And let's see what what iPal got on the trade. Another 12. So, apparently we went into like the self-help book store. Okay, so I basically have 2 more XP. That's not terrible. I'm going to go ahead and use one of these on Miley. So she now has 1 XP. And I'm going to do the other one to Crack. Cracks now has 4 XP. Explore. Each crew member exploring rolls once on the exploration table, page 80. Oh. Alright, so this is for... Let's roll for DD209 first. So here's the bot's exploration roll. We got a 52. $51 to $53. I don't have a gambling problem as a robot. Discard 1 item from the character's equipment or crew stash. Soulless ignore this event, but bots don't. Well, heck. Discard 1 item. Well, luckily DD209 has a scrap pistol, which is probably my worst weapon. So I'm going to have to just discard that scrap pistol, I guess. Nope. DD209, what happened to your scrap pistol? I don't know. Also, I do not have a gambling problem. That's an unrelated statement. Back to... Okay, so here's the exploration roll for Hammer, I guess. 25. Possible bargain. Give up a weapon of choice, then roll 1d6. On a 6, roll on the loot table. Otherwise get 1 credit. Don't know if I want to do that. Let's look at the loot table just to see what we got, what it is. So you can get weapons, damaged gear, regular gear, odds and ends, and rewards. You know what? I am gonna do it. I'm gonna give up the brutal melee weapon because it's not that great. Either I get a credit, which then I can buy a melee weapon at least at the end of the turn. I just have to make sure Kieran doesn't get that. If he ends up with an out of melee weapon on first combat, then I just have to make sure he doesn't get close and forced to run into a brawl. So we're going to give up the brutal melee weapon. So let's roll 1d6 and let's see if we get a 6 for the loot table. We got a 4. So we did not get the loot table. Here's the description for loaded dice. So I'm going to roll d6. Captain Lamb is going to roll the dice. Okay, roll the dice. Oh my gosh! Okay. I'm going to use this story point and re-roll that because I don't want him to be injured on turn 1. So we're going to use 1 story point and we're going to re-roll this d6. Two. Okay, we get 2 credits. I don't know if that was worth it. So we're going to go up 2 credits to 11, but we're going to go down to 7 story points. So we've done all of our crew tasks. Job offers, we already know our job offers. Assign equipment, I've already got everything assigned. Resolve rumors, we don't have any rumors. So choose battle, check for rivals. Select your job, check for rivals. First, you must check that your rivals give you the opportunity to choose your battle. Tally up the number of rivals, 0, you have, and roll a d6. If it's equal to or lower, okay, we don't have any rivals, so they're not going to interrupt us. If you're not attacked by rivals, you may select from any one of the options below if they are available. Carry out an opportunity mission, which is always available. Attack a rival if you track them down. We don't have any rivals. Continue a quest. We don't have a quest. Carry out a patron job. Ding, ding, ding. If you have an active patron. Okay, so we have 2 patron jobs to choose from. We are going to... I keep going back and forth between these. Here's the Here's the options for the patron ones. The only one that applies to us on turn 1 is carry out a patron job. So we have our 2 patron jobs right here on this. So since one of them has to be done by turn 1, we're going to choose that one, and then we're going to save the other one for turn 2 because we have it has a time frame of 2 turns. So we are going to do this one for the Shadow Brotherhood. Next, proceed to the battle section of the rules and fight out a tabletop battle. You may select no more than 6 crew members to bring into a battle. And that's actually your campaign size, but we're doing the default of 6. The rest will wait behind in the ship. If you have selected a campaign crew size 4 or 5, okay, then that also is the maximum number. Okay, you can always opt to bring fewer than you're entitled to, though you receive no special benefits. Readying for battle. From the fringe to the core world's unified spaces full of conflict, sector-wide land grabs, hardline legal enforcement, petty local squabbles, or generation-old slights seeking final justice. Sooner or later, everybody's reaching for a weapon, and there's you in the middle of it. We are going to do a patron mission. Opportunity or patron, rival, or quest. So we're going to be looking at this first column, and we need to roll a D100. We got a 07. So there is no deployment conditions. We have to determine deployment conditions, determine the objective, determine the enemy, and then set up the battlefield. Roll another D100 to see if there's a notable site. And we got a 93. Curious item. Roll a 1d6 on a 1 to 4. It can be sold for 1 credit. On a 5 to 6, roll on the loot table. First of all, I guess we'll roll 1d6. So it's a 2. Can be sold for 1 credit. So we have a curious item that's 1 credit. And it will be placed 2d6 plus 2 in a random direction from the center of the table. Let's roll the 2d6. It's these two. So 7 plus 2, 9. 9 inches from the center of the table in a random direction. So that's a notable site. Let's determine the objective. Opportunity, patron, and quest missions will roll for the objective you are undertaking. If this is a final quest battle, is always fight off. And you must add +1 to the number of enemies faced. To win the battle, you must achieve the objective, even if you are subsequently chased from the patron mission objectives. We need to roll a 1d10. We got a 3. So the objective is eliminate. Types of objectives. Eliminate. Select a random enemy figure. They are the target. If they are killed, you win. If the target would bail from the battle, put a marker next to them and leave them in place. For the next round, the target cannot move, but may shoot and fight normally. If you fail to kill them in this final round, they make good their escape and the mission is failed. Okay. So determine the enemy. If you're fighting a rival or invasion mission, you will usually know who you're fighting. Pick the most appropriate entry. Okay, so we're not doing that. Otherwise, you will need to generate the opposition for the mission you're about to undertake. First, roll 1d100 on the enemy encounter category. Then go to the appropriate subtable and roll again. This will give you the exact type of enemy. The table provides all of the ability scores needed to run the enemy in battle, along with any special rules. Number of opponents you face is depending on the crew campaign size. So we're we're 6 size crew size of 6. So we'll roll 2d6 and pick the higher. If it's 1 to 2 opponents, no specialists. 3 to 6, 1 specialist. 7 plus 2 specialists will be present. And if we get 4 or more, one non-specialist will be a lieutenant. They carry a blade in addition to their normal. Okay. There might also be unique individuals. Let's just start right here. Enemy. So this is a patron. This is a patron mission. So we're gonna roll a D100 for the enemy type. 94. Roving threats. So we need to go down to roving threats. Roving threats, here we go. You have stumbled onto something dangerous in the area and must fight for your life. Any valuables found will typically be remnants of some unlucky prior crew. Enemies from this list never become rivals. So even though this is a hot job, and we would get a rival on a roll 1 or 2, we don't have to roll because enemies on this list will never become rivals. They're never accompanied by unique individuals unless you're on insanity. Alright, so what we need to do is another D100. I believe. 97. 85 to 97. Vent crawlers. Oh, I know what minis I can use for this. You'll see them when I set up the board. Homicidal alien life forms that like to lurk inside starships or on strange moons. So they have a special thing called Fate Worse Than Death. If the post-battle injury roll is death, the character cannot be saved, and no rerolls are possible for any reason. Yikes. Okay. There's no extra number for vent crawlers, so we're just going to roll 2d6, and we're not going to add these together. We're going to take the highest. Ugh. So there are going to be 6 vent crawlers. They panic on 0, so they don't run away ever. You gotta kill them all. Oh my gosh, their speed is 6. Combat skill is 2+, and their toughness is 5. Oh my gosh, and they are rampaging enemies, and their claws they have claws which are damage +0. Oh my, they're gonna be tough to kill. This is gonna be 6 vent crawlers. And because there's 6, okay, 3 to 6, so 1 specialist. If you encounter 4 or more, 1 non-specialist will be a lieutenant. So if the opponents are encountered are animals that do not use weapons, I would say they are. The lieutenant will be a pack leader, increase combat skill by +1, but make no other changes. We don't have to worry about specialists because they're all just armed the same. So we have 6 with 1 lieutenant. +1 combat skill. So he'll be +3. Oh my gosh. We definitely do not want to fight these things in close combat. I think that's everything we need to do before actually setting it up. Set up the battlefield. Determine the table size. I'm going to do a 2x2. Okay, that's everything we need to do for the pre-combat part of the turn. We'll come back when I have the table set up and we'll actually play the encounter. We are just about ready to get started playing our first combat round of 5 Parsecs from home. As you know, the crew of the Lightning Bug has been sent on a mission by the secretive Shadow Brotherhood to check out this area and retrieve a mysterious item. And unfortunately, there are rampaging vent crawlers that are going through this area, and here are the minis that I'm going to be using for vent crawlers. You probably recognize where these guys are from. These are technically Horror Clicks minis, but they're going to be playing the part of our vent crawlers today. So let me go ahead and point this camera down at my dice tray, and I've got a second camera set up to show the board. We're playing on a 2x2 foot board today. Okay, here's just a test roll to see if we can read the dice there. Hopefully you guys can read that. These are my high-tech sci-fi dice that look like printed circuit boards. That's a 4. You could tell by the number of lines that are on the face. And so that's a 6. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we've got the unique site, which is I'm going to use this little marker right here, and it needs to be 9 inches from the center of the board in a random direction. So we use the D10 method of the pointy part of the dice is going to point what direction. So it's going to be 9 inches that way. We already rolled the 9 inches when we were doing the mission setup, because it was 2d6 plus 2, and that turned out to be 9. So this is going to be about 9 inches right over here. And that will be, if my guys can pick it up, we'll take a combat action to pick it up, and that will be an extra 3 credits, I think. And my objective is to eliminate all the enemies. So the Shadow Brotherhood has sent us here to exterminate these vent crawlers. And that's going to be tough, because the vent crawlers are kind of scary. So we'll do that. So the next thing we need to do is roll randomly for my deployment side. I do not have any D4s handy, so I am going to roll with 1 starting here and just go counterclockwise. Sorry, clockwise around. Alright. Oh. So let's see. That is a 3. So 1, 2, 3. So my team will deploy on the side nearest the camera right there, which means the vent crawlers set up first on the opposite side, and since they're aggressive, they're rampaging, they set up in a cluster, so they all have to be at least 1 inch away from one of the other ones. Oh, and this guy right here, that is on the pillar, is the lieutenant. And because vent crawlers don't have weapons, he won't have a different type of weapon. They all just have claws. But he does have +1 combat, which means the normal vent crawlers are all +2 combat, so the lieutenant is +3. Now, also, technically I don't have to eliminate them all to win. There is a specific one that I have to eliminate. And I am just going to get these guys all set up here, and then I'll roll a d6. So they are going to be starting with 1 on this side. Let's see which one we actually have to eliminate. It's the first one, so it's this guy with the blue ring. There's only 2 that have blue rings, and one of them is the lieutenant, or the leader. So this guy this is the one that for some reason is the one that's marked for elimination by the Shadow Brotherhood. We're going to say it has a special DNA signature, and they want that one dead for some reason. So, in case things go really badly, I could still win if by killing this one. I don't have to kill all 6 of them, technically. Okay, so then I can set up on my guys on the side of the board by the camera. So we could set up anywhere as long as we're not 18 inches from the nearest one. So nearest enemy. So that's the nearest enemy. I can go to about halfway through here. These squares, you can see the little concrete squares on my mat. Excuse me. Those are 2 by 2 inches. So let's set up cracks first. I'm going to put him with cover behind the corner of this building. And I am going to set up DD209, one of my bots, right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay. It's kind of on the edge. He's about an inch from the edge of the board, but he's kind of right on the edge of where the camera can see him. Then I have this power kind of generator unit, which looks like a black circle from the top of the camera angle. I'm going to put Captain Lamb right there. And I'm going to put... Where do I want... I'm going to put Miley right here. She has the longest range weapon, I think. She has my marksman's rifle. And the marksman's rifle... actually, I'm going to switch this around a little bit. I'm going to move DD over here closer to cracks. And I'm going to put Miley right here next to the corner. And I believe if I read the rules correctly, if you're within 1 inch of a piece of terrain, then you have cover. But Miley has the marksman's rifle, which has a 36-inch range, so it can shoot anything on the board pretty much. And it's heavy though, which means if she moves and wants to shoot it, it's -1. But hopefully she can get a shot off at the guy who happened to be number 1 is the one I need to kill. He was the one that was in the open. Alright, now we're going to put Hammer over here by Captain Lamb. He's on the other side of this generator. And we're going to put the iPal right here between Miley and Captain Lamb. Okie dokie. So that is our setup. Next thing would be to seize the initiative, which I need. You roll 2d6 and you add the highest savvy. So the highest savvy on my team is a +2. I have 3 characters that have a +2. So it's just going to be a +2, and it's 2d6 +2. You need to get at least a 10 in order to seize the initiative and get a free kind of surprise round. That is a 4 and a 5. So 11 on the dice, but that's 13. So 9 on the dice, sorry, which is an 11. So I seize the initiative, which means each of my characters can take basically either a move or a combat action. So let me refresh. And by the way, I'm using all the rules out of just the basic rulebook. I'm not using the dramatic, whatever it's called, the dramatic combat out of the expansion. So I believe the rules to hit, if I remember correctly, if you're within 6 inches and in cover, it's a 3+. If you're farther than 6 inches away, and then it's a 5+. If you're farther than 6 inches away and in cover, then it's a 6. So nobody's within 6, obviously, yet. So Miley has a +0 combat, so she's not going to be adding anything. And let's talk about the trade. When I say 1 inch from cover, I'm not counting the bases. I'm counting like the actual walls. And also these laser fences. I should have rotated one some of the other way. I was saying you could shoot through them and you can see through them. But you can't move through them because they're lasers. But that's probably not going to come into effect too much because since we randomly rolled for sides, the fences are all perpendicular. Nobody's necessarily going to need to cross a fence. Okay, so this guy's more then an inch away from the wall. So Miley is going to need a 5 to hit him with her rifle, with her marksman's rifle. That is a 5. Let's get lucky and snipe this guy and win on the surprise round. So, the bad news is that weapon is plus 0 damage, and vent crawlers have a toughness of 5. So it's going to need a 5 to take him out. We got a 4, so he did not get taken out. He is stunned and moves back an inch. And so he's going to be pushed back an inch, so he's almost to the edge. And I'll use these D3s as stun markers. Okay. So that guy has 1 stun marker. Alright, and Miley's gone. And I'm going to move my 2 droids up, and they're speed 4. So I don't want to dash because, well, you can't anyway, because this is a surprise. This is a seize the initiative. So he's going to move here, and then the iPal is also going to move up 4, which I'm going to put him about right here. Captain Lamb is just going to get a little bit more on cover right there. Whoops. Nope. That's... I wanted to hug him in on the side, but... There we go. And then... Hammer's going to move up to about right here. And... Oh, do I want to move? I'm going to go ahead and move Cracks up too. So this is 2. He's going to go right here. I'm only going to move him about 3 inches to like right here. Because these vent crawlers are going to come in fast. Okay. So, that was the seize the initiative. Now let's actually do turn 1. Starting turn 1. We need to do our reaction roll. So we need to roll 6d6. Okay, I got 3 1s, which is incredible, and 2 3s and a 4. So 3 of my characters are going to be able to act in the fast round. So it goes. So and since Cracks is a feral, if I'd only rolled 1 1, I would have to give it to him. But if you roll more than a single 1, that doesn't matter. And I'm gonna have to give one of my fast ones to DD209 because I realized I just messed up and put him right blocking line of sight for Miley. And I'm going to actually do these 3. So I'm going to do Miley, and I'm also going to do Cracks. And then the other ones, it won't matter. I actually need to get some better markers for fast and slow. Okay, so turn 1. So my fast characters can move first. Let's see what weapons does DD209 have? He has a military rifle, which is also 24 inches. So he's in range. And Cracks has a shotgun. So what Cracks is going to do is going to do snap fire, which means he basically goes into Overwatch and will shoot his 2 shots at a character that moves within his range. So I'm going to leave him there like that. I'm going to move DD209 next. And I'm going to move him 4 inches. And I'm going to move him out of the way so that Miley can get her shot. So he's going to move right there. And then he's going to fire 24 inches. And he's going to fire at my target. And the droids have +1 combat. We're definitely not within 6, and he's in the open, so it's going to be a 5 again to hit, but I got a +1, so I need a 4 on the die. That is a 6. So that will hit. Military rifle, +0, so once again a 5 to damage him. Uh-oh, there we go. No, 1. So it didn't damage him. That puts him to 2. And I'm going to say you can't push somebody off the board, so it's going to push him just to the edge of the board, which is about 3/4 of an inch. All right, so that's DD209. Now I'm going to let Miley go. She's not going to move. She's going to aim, and then she's going to fire her marksman's rifle again. So she's going to need a 5 to hit, but because she's aiming, if it's a 1, I can re-roll it. It's a 2, so I can't re-roll it. So that is a miss. And that is my 3 characters that are in the fast round. Fast phase of the round. So now it's the vent crawler's turn. And the vent crawlers move 6, and they are rampaging. So they are going to move as fast as they can towards the closest target. And they don't have ranged weapons, which means they're going to dash. So they're going to move 8 inches, I think. So this guy is going to move 8 inches to right there. Now, this target is stunned, so he can't dash. He can only go 6. So he's going to go 6. Be right here by the cranes, and then that's going to make his stun marker go down to 1. Then the rest of these guys are all going to move 8 inches. And they have to kind of go around, so this guy is going to go about right here. And then these guys, these guys are going to just go 8 forward. They're going to go boop to right here. This is getting scary all of a sudden. They're very close. Oh, Krax's Snapfire is going to go off probably on this guy. He moved first, but I'll do that in just a second. So let's see. Who's closer to this guy? They're about 17 inches, and he's also about 17. I'm going to have him go around this way. So he's going to go 2 inches to there, and then he'll go up 6 inches, which is going to put him right behind these guys. Okay, and the shotgun has a 12-inch range, I believe. So yeah, so he's definitely... He's about 7 inches away. So, I think, let me double check on Snapfire. I think you get the full number of shots. That's why it's handy to have the actual book for doing... I bought both the actual book and the PDF. It's easier to do the pre- and post-campaign parts on the computer and capture it on the computer. But it's good for looking up stuff here to have the actual book. So QRS Snapfire. Page 113. Characters are eligible to act in the quick action phase, may opt not to do so. This allows them to either fire when an enemy moves or delay until the slow actions phase. Firing during enemy turns prevents the firing character from moving this round. The enemy is stunned as a result of Snapfire. They lose the ability to fire this round. Characters that do not find an opportunity to use Snapfire can move normally in the slow phase. So it does not say one way or the other, so I assume that then he can take both shots. So outside of 6, not in cover, it's going to be 5s. So the first one is a 1, and the second one is a 5. And let me just double check. 5 will hit, but then I'm just trying to learn. Cracks actually does have a +1 combat, so that's a 2 and a 6. So shotgun is +1 damage. So 4 to kill that guy. That's a 2. So he is pushed back an inch and stunned. Stun 1. Alright. Now it's the slow phase. For my other characters, let's see. What are my ranges on their weapons? Captain Lamb has a dueling pistol, which is only 8 inches, so he's not within range. If I move up within range, that means he's going to get charged next time. Well, not necessarily. They can only move into brawling with a 6. You can't dash into a brawl. So there's that. Hammer has a range 10 beam pistol, and the iPal has a colony rifle. So iPal has a colony rifle, which an 18-inch range, and he has a +1 to hit because he's a bot. +1 combat because he's a bot, and the weapon is +0. So he's going to shoot here at this first guy. He's going to aim because he didn't move, and then he's going to need a 4 to hit. He got a 5 to hit, so he's going to need a 5 to kill that guy. He got a 1, so that guy is stunned. And he can't be pushed back because there's another guy right next to him, I think. Beam pistol with a range of 10 from Hammer. So this guy's in range. He's slid a little bit. He's supposed to be right up next to that. So there's no cover for the target because he's right there. He's not within 6, so it's going to be a 5. Hammer has a +1 combat and +1 damage on here. Ooh, let me double check the range because this is a blast pistol. Okay, about 7 or 8. I had to check because Praxis Prime, this planet, has reflective dust, and if you're shooting a blast, beam, or laser weapon and it's range 9 or more, it's -1 to hit, but we're within 9, so we're good. So 4 to hit. Got a 6. Perfect. And does it have critical or anything like that? It does. Beam pistol has critical, so that's going to be an extra hit no matter what. So, and it's damage 1. So I'm going to roll 2 dice and wound him on 4s. Either one is a kill on a 4. That is a 5. So this guy's dead. Yay! Killed one. That is going to be the first kill for Hammer. And that is important because he gets an extra experience point for that. Alright. Last one to go is the captain. And he's going to live a little bit dangerously. I'm going to move up within 8. I want to be within 8, but not within 6. So he can do that. He's going to be not in cover, though. He's going to move to right there. And now he's right at 8 inches. Oh, what about... Is he within 8 of this guy? No. He's within 8 inches of this one. So he's going to try and shoot there. He does not... Does he have a... He's +0 combat. So the only thing special is that this pistol is a critical if I roll a 6. So he's going to need a 5 to hit. And that's cocked. 1. That's going to be a miss. That's the end of turn 1. So we've got 2 guys stunned. Did I forget to shoot Miley? No, I did. She missed. Okay, turn 2. So let's do reaction rolls for turn 2. Oh, I was going to say also, I killed one of the guys, which would normally be a morale test. But vent crawlers, they only flee on a 0. So they don't, in other words, they don't flee. Their panic rating is 0, so you have to roll a 0 on a d6 in order to make them run away, which obviously is someone's sick idea of a joke. Okay, so there we go. Not nearly as good where everyone's going in the slow phase. I got 3 3s. I got a 6, 2 6s, a 5, and 3 3s. So our highest reactions on anyone is a 2. So nobody's going in the fast round this time, which means it's time for the vent. So there's my fast phase. That was quick. Then so the vent crawlers are now going to go, and this guy is going to move 6 to about right here. And then he's going to lose his stun. And then this guy here is going to move 8. So he's going to go right here. Then this guy, which is our target, is going to... He's had 1 stun token left. So he's going to move 6. And then he's going to lose that stun token. And these guys are both going to move 8. Because they're going to... Well, they can't dash into combat. So I'm going to put this guy 1 inch away. Which is bad for Hammer. Because he's a Karen. And he's going to have to charge in. And he lost his melee weapon trading. So that's not good. We don't have any melee weapons, by the way. Okay. So all my guys. So Miley's going to go first. The only one she has really a clear shot at is this guy. But let's see. Is he within it? He's within an inch of... He's within an inch of this fence, technically. So that's cover, so she's going to need a 6 to hit him. Yikes. So she's a +0, so she's going to need a 6. But she's got a heavy weapon, so she's going to aim first. So reroll 1, 6 to hit. That is a 5. That misses. Damn. Okay, I am going to shoot now with Cracks, our little reptile boy. Or big reptile boy, technically. He's as big as the robot. I am going to... Does he want to shoot at the guy in the front? Or... I think he has to shoot at the guy in the front, because if I were to shoot him, he would have cover from the other guy. So, Cracks is a +1 combat. Oh, but the good news is that guy is within 6 inches and he's in the open. So I'm going to aim and then I'm going to shoot my 2 shots. So I need a 3 to hit and I can reroll 1s. That's a 6. And that's another 6. So Cracks unloads his shotgun. Shotguns are +1 damage, so that's going to be... Unfortunately, shotguns don't have critical. And they do have focused, so he has to shoot both shots at the same guy. Anyway, that's why I just rolled them both at the same time. So a 4 on either of these dice will take out the guy. Oh, yes, a 6. Splat. Because the vent crawlers don't have any kind of armor save, which is good. So, that leaves DD209 to go ahead and take a shot at either one of these 2 guys. And might as well take a shot at our target. Is he within 6 inches? I think he just might be. Definitely, he's about 5 inches away, 4.5, 5 inches. So, DD209 is going to aim and shoot. So it's a 3. He actually has a +1 combat. So he needs a 2, and he can reroll a 1 because he's aiming. So 2, that hits. Colony rifle is... No, military rifle is +0 damage. So that's going to be a 4 to kill him. That's a 2. So he was shooting at this guy who gets pushed back an inch and then becomes stunned again. Alright, so that's these 3. Alrighty then. iPal is going to shoot here at the leader. The one good thing about these guys being rampages, they don't technically try to get into cover. So iPal is going to aim and he's going to shoot, and this is going to be the same thing because he's in the open. It's going to be a 3, and the robots are +1 to hit on combat, so he needs a 2, and he can reroll a 1 because he's aiming. That's a 1. It's a 3, so 3 hits. It's I should have shot his machine pistol, but I was just shooting his colony rifle. He'll switch to machine pistol next round, which is 2 shots. No damage, so it needs a 5. It needs a 5 to kill him. That's a 6. That's a 6, and that was the elite guy, which had a +3 on his combat roll, which means he's even scarier in combat. All right, so this turn is going okay so far, but next turn they're going to get in combat with us. So Captain Lamb is going to aim his dueling pistol right. I'm just turning him for dramatic effect. He's just aiming his dueling pistol right in this thing's face, and he has a +0 So he will need a 3. Technically, that guy's within an inch of, so 5. He'll need a 4. But he can reroll ones. He'll need a 4 on the die, but he can reroll ones. That's a 2. That's a miss. That's not good. So, my last character to go is Hammer. And since he's a Kieran, he is compelled to move into combat with this alien monster like a, I don't know, like a dummy. At least he's really wishing he had his brutal melee weapon still, that he hadn't traded it away. So, he does have a +1 combat. So, I might have to refresh myself how combat works. I believe he's going to roll 1 dice, so he'll roll the purple die, and he's going to be a +1, but then the vent crawler is going to roll the green die, and the vent crawler is a +2. And are they trying to see who gets? 1 second, time to refresh my thing. This is my first time playing, so when we're doing a brawling, figures in physical base contact with each other will fight in a brawl during a combat action rather than firing. Each character rolls a 1d6, adding their combat skill. Kieran roll twice using the better score. Okay, so that's also good to know. So I'm going to roll 2 purple, take the better one, and add 1 to it. Add +2 if carrying a melee weapon, or +1 if carrying a pistol. Oh, he has a pistol, so +1. The lower total suffers a hit. On a draw, both characters take a hit. Okie dokie. So let's see. Let's just roll that. So he rolls twice. It takes the better one. The better one is a 3. He gets +1 for his pistol and +1 for his combat score. So he has a 5. So I'm just going to put that as a 5. 5. Boom. Now, the vent crawler has a +2 combat, and he has claws, which is a melee weapon. Does that mean he's adding 4? Oh my god. 5. It's a tie. So he rolled a 1 + 4 is 5. So it's a tie. So they're both going to take a hit. So, roll to see if we wound the... Roll to see if we wound the vent crawler. He needs a 5. Wait. Let me see. Resolve highest damage value. His blast pistol has a +1 damage. Yes. Alright, so technically he needs a 4 to kill the thing. That's a 6, so it dies, but it might still hurt him. It has... I wrote down their stats. Claws are damage +0. So, Hammer has a toughness 4, so this thing needs a 4 to hurt him. It got a 4. So it's dead. And Hammer is wounded. That is no bueno. I'm going to lay him down. So, these things, acid blood, egg implants, whatever these aliens do, they have a fate worse than, they have a ability called fate worse than death, which means when at the end, when I roll for injury for him, you can't re-roll it, I think is what it is. I'll look it up. So we might have to use a story point and use 2 and take the... Because that's technically not re-rolling. You can do 2 things with story points. You could re-roll something after you've rolled it. Or before you roll, you can spend 1 and roll twice. And take the one you like. So we might have to do that. Oh, that is the end of turn 2. Unfortunately, these guys do not run away. And this is the one we need to kill right here. So... we haven't won yet, although we've killed 4 out of 6. which is good. I believe then we need to check the random events at the end of turn 2. Battle events. This is optional, but let's do it. Add a random component to the tabletop beyond the simple to hit rolls and damage checks. At the end of round 2 of the battle, roll once on this table and apply the result to the gaming table. Roll a second random event at the end of round 4. No additional events are rolled. In some cases, the two events can be incompatible when both applied. Okay, so we need to roll a D100. So let's get our D100 here. We got an 04. Renewed efforts. No! The renewed enemy is making a concerted effort to push you back. For the rest of the battle, after all enemy figures have acted, select a random enemy figure that immediately may take a second move and a second combat action. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Let's not do that. Let's kill them on turn 3. Starting turn 3, Hammer is down. I looked at the vent crawlers again. I think I should have only added +2 instead of +4 to that roll. So Hammer would have won. But that's okay. I'm going to leave it the way it is. We need to roll our reactions roll for turn 3. And we've got 5 characters active, so we only need to roll 5 this time. Oh no. Oh, that's not great. Once again, we got no 1s or 2s. So the lowest we've got is a 3. So we're all going to go in the slow phase. Yikes. Okay. So I think that means one of these guys is going to get into combat with us. So there's no fast phase. That's done. Enemy phase. This guy is going to move towards the closest one, which is DD. DD 209. So he's going to go there. And then this guy, let's see if he's within 6. He may or may not be within 6 of... Yes, he is within 6. So this is the way I understand this. He has a stun roll. So he's going to move up. You know what? Let's do our guys one at a time. So that guy is going to fight... That guy is going to fight DD 209. It's only going to be a +2. Because the claws I don't think count as melee weapon. They just say damage +0. I think that's why they gave these guys a +2 combat, is because their claws are built in. So, he is going to fight DD 209. And he's going to add 2. So here's the vent crawler's roll. Oh, he got a 6, which is an 8. Yikes. DD 209 has a +1 combat roll, so he cannot win. But we'll see what he gets. He got a 4, 5 versus 8. That guy, the vent crawler, tries to wound him. He's a bot, so he has a toughness of 4. So they need a 4. It's a 2. He's not wounded. But he gets pushed back 1 inch, and he's stunned. Okay. This guy is probably going to move. So I already measured it. So he's within 6 of cracks. And I believe the way that happens is he has a stun token, which means he couldn't fight. But when you go into a brawl, you take off all the stun tokens and the opponent gets a +1. So cracks is going to get an extra +1. So the vent crawler has a +2. Oh man. They're rolling so good. That's a 5 +2 is 7. Cracks has a +1. +1 for his pistol, +1 for the stun token, so he's going to get to add 3. That's a 6. What did I say? Oh no! The other one, 5 + 2 is 7, so the vent crawler wins. And so the vent crawler will wound Cracks. Cracks has a toughness of 3, so he'll wound him on a 3. So 2. He's also not wounded, but he's pushed back, and he'll get a stun token. Now that terrible rule is going to come into effect. Let me see. Was that at the end of the turn or the end of the enemy phase? That was random events. Renewed efforts. For the rest of the battle, after all enemy figures have acted, select a random enemy figure that immediately take a second move in a second combat. Okay. Crap. So, odds, evens. That's a 4. So this guy's going to go again, and I'm just going to have him move up against the bot. He's going to have a +2. God, he rolled a 6 again. That's an 8. There's no way he can win. So that's, he has a +2 because he... Oh, but he takes off the stun, so that's actually a 9. Ugh, jeez. And then I'm going to have a +2, but there's no way I can get a 9. Even on a 5, 7. So he's going to need a 4 to wound the bot. It's a 1. So he gets a stun token. He gets pushed back again. He gets a stun token. Okay. That could have been way worse than it was. I guess I'll activate all my slow characters. Let me see if Miley is within 6. She's going to shoot at this guy. So I am going to say he has cover from the DD-209. So he's within 6 but in cover, so with the 5, she's going to aim first. So she can reroll 1s. And then she'll need a... She has a +0 combat, so... She'll need a 5. 1. She aimed. 1. A miss. Okay. Let us do DD-209. He's not going to move. He can't... I'm just going to have him shoot. So he's going to shoot his military rifle, because that's the only weapon he has. So that's going to be a +1 to hit. And nothing on damage. So, within 3 and in the open, he needs a 2. He got a 3. And since he didn't move, he only took a combat action. He loses the stun. Then he needs a 5 to wound the vent crawler. He got a 3. So the vent crawler gets pushed back and gets a stun token. Alright, I'm going to have Cracks essentially do the same thing. He's not going to move, so his stun token will go away. He's going to shoot his shotgun. That creature is straight in front of him. They're both within 1 inch of the cover, so I don't think there's cover. So it's a 3 to hit, and he has 2 shots, and he has a +1. So he needs 2s on the dice to hit. The first one is a 3, that hits. Second one is a 2, that still hits. So the shotgun is +1 damage, I think. Cracks. Shotgun is +1 damage. So forced to kill it. So 1. That is a 5. So that one kills it. Boom. And technically that's the one we needed to kill, so we have now won. So we could like run away now if we wanted to. But let's try and do this. We've got 2 more guys to go. I'm going to have Captain Lamb dash 6 inches. He's going to try and come around the other side. And also maybe pick up this bonus thing over here. He's like, "You'll be okay, Hammer." He's going to run down here. I'm going to move 4 with iPal, and I'm going to shoot. And I'm going to say shooting, you could shoot through that laser fence, but it should probably give cover. So that's within 6 inches and cover, so it's a 5 to hit him. iPal has a +1 combat, because all bots have a +1 combat. So 4 to hit. Got a 4. Sweet. He's using his pistol, I said. Yeah. He actually has 2 shots, so that's cool. It's also focused, so a 4. The first one hits on a 4. Second one misses on a 2. So, the machine pistol is +0 damage, so a 5 to kill that guy. That is a 5. We have exterminated all of the vent crawlers. Whew! That was close. I tell you what. Okay, so Hammer is in danger. We're going to have to rush him back to the medical bay. So I ended up controlling the the board, and I don't need to rush and leave. So I think, I mean, it would just take me one more turn to come over here and pick this up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I looked, it's only 1 extra credit anyway. So I'm going to get that, and I'm going to say I get the 1 extra credit. And then we wrapped it up, and I will adjourn to the computer and let us do the post-combat. Okay, we are back, and I am at my computer, so I can share my screen more easily here and show you what we've got. Let's do the post-turn sequence for turn 1. And first, let's go to the rulebook, and there's a couple of things I wanted to confirm. The first is what I said. You can use a story point before rolling on any table outside of combat. You may spend 1 story point to roll twice and pick the result you prefer. Okay. Then the second part of that is going to be, let's check our event crawlers. Roving threats. Enemies from this list never become rivals, which is good because this was a hot job, so our enemy would become a rival on a 1 or a 2 instead of just a 1. But they're never going to become rivals. And then the last thing that I want to do, fate worse than death. If post-battle injury roll is death, the character cannot be saved, and no re-rolls are possible for any reason. So, we can't use a story point to re-roll it if he dies, but we can use a story point before we roll 2 and take the one we like. That way, if one of them's death, then he could still live. Alright, so let's just go to the post-battle activities. Post-battle. Resolve rival status. If you fought an opponent that isn't a rival and held the field, roll 1d6. On a 1, the type of opponents you just fought become your rivals, except that it's a roving threat and they will never become a rival, so we don't have to roll. And okay, the rest is about fighting something. If you just fought a rival, they might stop being a rival. Resolve patron status. If you succeeded on a patron mission, which we did, you may add the patron to your list of contacts on this planet. They were already on our list. Unless the job was a one-time contract. When you travel to a new planet, all patrons become unavailable unless they're persistent. Yes, okay. So we already had that patron on our list, so that's good. Determine quest progress. If you just fought a battle that was part of a quest, roll a d6. That was not part of a quest. So get paid. You earn 1d6 in credits in pay, loot, bounty, or salvage. If you finish the final mission of a quest, roll the dice twice and pick the better score and add 1 to the total. If you finished an invasion battle, there is no payment. Okay, so this was just a regular patron job. So 1d6. Add 1 if a campaign is on easy mode, no. If you won the mission by completing your objective, treat any roll of 1 or 2 as a 3. Okay. If you did a patron job, add the pay bonus to the danger pay. Okay, so our danger pay for this was 1 credit. So let's roll our d6 and see how much we get. Awesome, we got a 6. So that's 6 plus 1 for the danger pay, plus 1 for the interesting site that we picked up. So we're going to get 8. We're adding 8 to 11, so that puts us to 19. Battlefield finds. If you held the field, which we did, because we didn't have to run away, you had an opportunity afterwards to search the battle for anything worth collecting. So that's why I said when we held the field, we should be able to pick up that thing, that curious site. You may do so even if you failed to achieve or did not have an objective. This is in addition to loot you might be allowed to claim. You cannot roll on this table after an invasion. So battlefield finds. Note that unless indicated by this table, you cannot acquire weapons from fallen opponents. The in-world reason, foes drag their casualties away. Okay, so you can't pick up weapons off of enemies. We need to roll a D100 for battlefield finds. So we got a 12. Weapon. Randomly select a slain but not bailed enemy. Oh, that's terrible. Because they had no weapons. Randomly select a slain but not bailed enemy from the battle. You may keep any weapons they were carrying. Now, that would normally be probably a decent result, but the event crawlers didn't have any weapons. Check for invasion. If the enemy you just battled is an invasion threat, listed in their profile in battle chapter, you must roll to see if the world is invaded. So event crawlers are not an invasion threat. Gather loot. Roll once on the loot table on page 131. To see what you've earned, some circumstances may offer additional rolls. If you finish the final stage of a quest, roll 3 times and claim all items. So we need another D100. I am sorry, I should have switched back here. I'll get the hang of this eventually. So, let's see. Here's the loot table. We need to roll a D100 for the loot table. We rolled, that's cocked. I'm going to re-roll it. 37. 36 to 45 damage gear. Roll twice on the gear subtable. Both items require repair. Gear subtable. So here's the gear subtable. We're going to roll twice. Okay, one is a 76. So one utility item and 141. One utility item and one protective item. Well, here's the protective item table right here. So we got a 43. We got a deflector field. That sounds cool. I don't know what that does. But I'm going to write down deflector field. And then we need to go to the utility items, which is right here on the next page. Go ahead and roll again. 84. We got a scanner bot, a deflector field, and a scanner bot. Okay, so that was gather the loot, determine. Okay, here's the scary part for Hammer. Any character that became a casualty in the battle must roll on the injury table below. Bot and soulless characters use the bot injury table instead. If the character is merely knocked out, suffering from 3 stun results simultaneously, no roll is required. If a character with luck would be slain through a roll on this table, they miraculously survive but immediately lose all luck points. They can earn additional luck points as normal in the future. Unless this occurs, spent luck points are now recovered. Okay, so we are going to spend a story point and roll twice. 1 to 5 is dead. Actually, 1 through 15 is dead. First roll is a 30, which is equipment loss. Random item carried is damaged. That's not bad. Okay, second roll. $49. Serious injury, no long-term effect, 1d3 plus 1 turns in sickbay. So, do I want to give him a serious injury or equipment loss? It's not lost. It's just damaged. Okay, because the reason I was considering doing this injury is because Hammer has one of my high-tech weapons, which is a beam pistol. It's one of my best weapons. So it's only damage, which means we can try and repair it. So we're going to do equipment loss. I'm going to add damaged gear. We have a deflector field. We have a beam pistol, which is now damaged, a deflector field, and a scanner bot. And we used a story point, so we're down. Oh, we're down to 6. That could have been bad. That could have been, he could have died or been in sickbay for a long time. Okay, so each character that participated in the battle will now earn experience points. Characters survived if they did not become a casualty. Track the accumulated experience points for each character. Bots do not receive XP. So if you became a casualty, you get 1. So Hammer became a casualty. So he got 1, but he also got the first kill. Hammer has 2 XP. Survived but did not win, nobody. Survived and won, 3. So everyone else is going to get 3. iPal is a robot and doesn't get XP. Lamb has 1, and he's going to get 3. So he's going to go up to 4. Cracks has 2. Cracks has 4 already. Crack is going to go to 7. And I think that might be enough for an increase. Miley's going to get 3, so she's going to go to 4 as well. We already did Hammer, and the other bot doesn't get any. Okay, so that's it for experience points. If a character has enough experience points, you may spend XP at this time to acquire a character upgrade and increase to the character's ability scores. The listed cost will increase the score by +1. Cost depends on the ability you're increasing. So let's see. Cracks has 7. So he can increase his reactions, his combat, or his combat skill. He can increase anything but luck. I don't need to increase his savvy because we've got 3 other characters with +2 savvy. I'm tempted to increase his reactions to 3, but also his toughness could be increased. I'm going to spend 6 of his 7 points and increase his toughness to 4. That'll make him harder to wound. Invest in advanced training. At this stage, you may opt to invest in advanced training. Advanced training courses give the character expertise that will allow them to improve. Okay, so this is good, but I'm not going to spend the gold, even though I've got, credits. I'm not going to spend a lot of the credits because, honestly, I'm going to pay my ship off as fast as possible. That way, long term, we won't be paying an extra credit every turn. You may pay 3 credits to receive a role on the military weapons table, gear table, or gadget table in the character creation chapter. You may purchase more than 1 role per campaign turn. You may purchase any number of handguns, blades, colony rifles, or shotguns for 1 credit each. You may sell up to 3 undamaged items, earning 1 credit each. So the only undamaged item I have is my analyzer, and I didn't want to sell that. First of all, I'm definitely going to buy a blade for Hammer, because he has the being compelled to go into combat if he can. So I'm going to get him a melee weapon, and I'm also going to get him a shotgun. I think I want 2. I'm going to buy 2 blades and a shotgun. And I'm also going to give Cracks a blade, because those are hopefully my 2 combat guys. Oh, and that cost me 3 credits, so I'm going to go down from 19 to 16. I'm going to spend 3 credits and roll on the military weapons table. 3 more, go down from 16 to 13. Military weapons, okay, D100, here we go. O2, military rifle. That's fine. Roll for a campaign event. Roll 1D100 on a campaign event table. Apply the result immediately. In some cases, the event may seem not to make any sense. If so, just ignore it as necessary. Campaign events table right here. We need a D100. So campaign events is a 94. It's time to go. Whatever you did, every campaign turn you stay on this planet, you must add an additional rival. I don't like that one. I think I'm going to spend a story point and re-roll that. We're going to go down to 5 story points. Alright, and let's roll this campaign event again. Maybe something not quite so bad. $53. Oh! Taxman is taking an interest in your business conduct. Roll 2d6 and pay the higher die in credits. If you have instant credits, you're okay. Well, poop. 2d6. Oh, and pay the higher one, not the total. Okay. Well, there goes our 6 credits. Damn. Okay. Well, we're going down to 7 credits. We just burned 12 credits. That's not good. Okay. So that's the campaign event. Roll for character event. Select a random non-bot, non-soulless character and roll a D100 on the character event table. Alright, so let's roll a D6, and if we get one of the bots, we'll just roll again. The 4th one is Miley. Here's the character events table. We need to roll a D100. 88. Give me something good. I have no idea what's on these tables. They don't make them like they used to. A random item carried by the character is damaged and must be repaired before it can be used again. Engineers are not affected by this event. Okay, so what is Miley carrying? Miley is carrying a frag vest, marksman's rifle, or a handgun. So we'll start with the weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 or 6 is the frag vest, I guess. So let's roll a d6. Oh, 6. Okay, so her frag vest is now damaged. Okay, that's terrible. Check if you are tracking any planets that were previously invaded. Roll a d6. So we're not. And that's the end of turn 1. So there we go. The crew of the Lightning Bug succeeded on their mission, but they had some bad luck afterwards. Okay, that's going to wrap up campaign turn 1 for the crew of the Lightning Bug. Thank you for watching. I will catch you next time in campaign turn 2. Have a great day.